I don't very much like zucchini. Hey everyone, welcome to Princess Gay. I'm your host Connie, and today we are here with my blind reaction to My Life as a Courgette. This is a donation reward for Isabella, and yeah, I've heard a lot of great things about this movie. A lot of people really praise it. It's actually surprisingly short. It's like not long at all comparatively to a lot of other movies. Um, but uh, I'm interested in seeing what this is like because while it's only like an hour and 5 minutes long, again, it has received a lot of praise. And whether you watch it in the dub or the original French, I feel like a lot of people just really vibed with this movie. Now, I've seen a little bit of what the animation looks like, and it's definitely a unique style. Now, another thing of note is that this was originally requested to be in the English version, the dubbed version, but I could not find a copy of the English version pretty much anywhere that I could use for this reaction. And so I told this to Isabella like weeks and weeks ago, and she had said it's okay for me to react to the French version and all. So that's what we're doing. We're going with the French version. I don't know what to exactly expect from this because I don't know anything about the story or whatnot. We're just going to kind of have to see when it comes to that. So hopefully it ends up impressing. But I guess we're just going to have to see. Because like I said, I don't really know anything about this. All I know is it's called My Life as a Courgette. The English version is My Life as a Zucchini, because that's what courgette means. That's pretty much it. I don't know what to expect going into this, but we will see how it all turns out. So, let's just get this going. Sorry for the yawning and everything. It's early. Still waking up. But, yeah, let's get this going. So, when the screen fades to black, pause this redirect and go to the description below. Follow the link to the reaction, and after you watch it, come back here to the redirect and resume play. Because after it fades black and then fades back in, everything from that point forward will be my afterthoughts and will contain spoilers to the movie. So, that being said, thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you at the reaction. And we are back, and we'll begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. So, this movie takes colorful stop motion, I think specifically claymation, characters and everything, and gives it a both heartwarming and sobering story about a group of kids at a home who all come from very, very dark and sad pasts that that no kid should ever have to go through. It touches on a lot of terrible things while also showcasing the whimsical side of childhood with this group of friends who came to care about each other while living at this home together. It's a story that definitely touches on that sadness, but also on like positive things that can come from it. from these friendships to finding a new family that will care about you and show you the love that you deserve. So, what did I think about this? Well, I'm mixed. And I'm just being honest here. I don't dislike this movie at all. But I'm gonna be honest, I found it kind of boring. And that's mostly in terms of its presentation. It's a very slow movie. It crawls by at a very slow pace despite its short runtime. It's only like an hour 5 minutes long, and that's like with credits. So it's a pretty short movie. Yet it still just crawls by. It's so slow paced, so monotonous, and at times, like, I just found myself checking the time because I felt like it was a lot longer than it was. It felt like it was going on for just so much longer, like twice the amount of time. And there's certain aspects on why I can see the reason they did that they made it so slowly paced and everything. I think a lot of it comes down to trying to connect that to the emotion and the depth of the film. But at the same time, I had a hair on my mouth for some reason. Still, there it is. Got it. Sorry about that. Hate when that happens because it's so noticeable. It's so annoying. Anyway, yeah, I think they were trying to connect with the emotional depth of the movie and making it slower paced. I feel like they probably thought it would allow it to hit harder, but I feel like they really could have sped this up. Like the pacing really could have been a lot better, and I just feel like it took away from it by having it be that slow. Um, the characters are great. I like the characters. I even like Simon being like kind of a bully at first, but ending up growing to understand that Courgette is going through just as much pain as he and the others are, and they eventually become good friends. Where by the end he doesn't want Courgette and Camille to leave because not because he doesn't want them to experience a good life, but because he's going to miss them too much. But he also shows a lot of wisdom and a lot of, heart by telling Courgette that he wants him to go. That he and Camille should leave. That they deserve that happiness. And he makes it very clear. It's selfishness on his part that he's upset about it, and that's normal. Like you hear that, it's like, oh, he's selfish. That's a bad thing, right? No, he's selfish because he doesn't want to lose his friends. He's afraid of being forgotten. Like all of these kids here are in this house because of terrible family situations, of being mistreated, of being abandoned, of their parents, committing murder, suicide, and shit. It's like these are horrific things that should, again, never happen to a child. And all of these kids went through that kind of stuff. It makes sense that he would be scared to lose someone that he's bonded with and connected to so much. It makes sense that he would have that selfish desire for them to stay. It's not just Courgette either, it's Camille. Camille was actually really easily accepted into the group. They liked her really quickly. Honestly, quicker than Courgette. And it's just this bond, this genuine bond that formed between all of them that allowed them to really just find someone in this world of darkness and sadness to give them a little bit of light, a little bit of hope. And the voice acting was great. The subtitles were not. The subtitles were often, again, it might have just been like maybe they were a direct translation, and sometimes the wording, the phrasing was off because of it. But the subtitles were, I could understand what was going on. I understood what was happening. I understood the meaning behind everything that was being said. It's just, it was so weirdly worded. There were also a couple things in this that were a little unclear at first, like the fact that Courgette accidentally killed his mom. That was not 100% clear at first. Like, yeah, she fell, but that doesn't mean she's going to die. But apparently she did. Again, it just kind of means that she would have had to have hit her head in the right way, or I guess the wrong way. And, she would have, or maybe like hit her neck or something. Something like that. You get the gist. The point is, she would have had to have fallen and hit something in just the right way for that to happen, and it's just unfortunate. And she was drunk, so it's very possible, but I don't know. It never really goes into detail, and that might be for the best, but also does kind of leave a little bit open to, I guess you could say, interpretation. What's not open to interpretation, though, is the abusive situation that Camille was in. Her aunt was the only family member she had left who could take her in. And she wanted to take Camille in because of the money the government would give her. And this is a very real situation. People taking in family members and everything in this kind of situation. Or even like just, not necessarily family members, but workers taking in children just for the money that the government gives them. God, what is, I don't know, my mind is blanking on the term. It's like when a kid goes to a home that's not their home, not like they're not being adopted, but foster home. That's it, foster home. Foster parents, there's been a lot of unfortunate and terrible stories of foster parents doing this. Taking in children just to get the money from the government and not actually using it for the children, but for themselves. And treating the children like crap, except when like someone comes to check on them, and then they'll like dress it up and everything, make it look good. And that it's such a real thing too, and it's even been portrayed in movies. Like if you've ever seen pretty much any version of Annie that's in that, like whether you've seen the original version that has Carol Burnett in it, or the newer version with Cameron Diaz and Jamie Foxx, it's like no matter which version of Annie you've seen, or even like from the comics, I'm sure. I haven't read a lot of the Little Orphan Annie comics, but I'm sure that's probably part of it too. You have that in there. And it's just, I feel like it's just something that should be cracked down on a lot more. The only problem is you have to be able to prove it, that they're doing that. And a lot of times they threaten the kids and force the kids to, like, pretend that everything's okay. Which is horrific, but still. And in this situation, Camille, again, her parents died in a horrible incident. And then she's like with her aunt who abuses her and like it is just horrifying to her. Like Camille is outright scared shitless of her aunt. That's made very clear. And we see at the end there, it's like her aunt is trying to take full custody. But luckily, thankfully, Camille had that MP3 player, which was able to record her aunt saying those horrible things. And that made it so that she couldn't, that the judge wouldn't accept her having full custody. Or any custody, probably, at that point. Um, which is great. Which is fantastic. She did not deserve any custody. And Camille eventually ended up getting to be adopted by the officer, who, of course, also adopted Courgette, who he very much bonded with. And we find out, like, even the officer has, like, this sad backstory. Like, he has a son, but his son lives far away now, and they have no contact. And there could be a lot of reasons for that. Again, it never goes into full detail. You could maybe guess what it could be, but there's a number of things it could, so... The point is, he has no contact with his son anymore, and he's been lonely. So, when he took on Courgette's case, he kind of bonded with him pretty quickly, and he very much wanted to adopt him from early on. So it's awesome that he not only got to adopt him, but Camille as well, and now he has two kids to love and care for. And you see, like, right away, right when they get there, he already has their rooms set up and everything with a name plaques on the doors and nice beds and just great setups in general. Plenty of plants, because he loves plants. It's super cute. And that's definitely how I would refer to this movie. It's super cute. It has a lot of hope that's being... sprinkled into all of the darkness. All of the heavy topics of this film are balanced out with happiness in the end. And I think that they did well on that. Again, I just feel like it was really slowly paced. That's my only really notable issue, though, for this. Like, everything else I was fine with. The animation was great, of course, because stop motion's amazing. The soundtrack was fantastic. It's like, just... everything else was great, really. There was only those couple small issues I had mentioned, and that's it. But yeah, with those issues... this wouldn't really be my favorite movie. It's not bad. Like I said before, like I said at the beginning of these afterthoughts, it's not a bad movie. I don't dislike it in any way. Even with those issues, I don't dislike the movie. But it's nothing I would like call super special. And don't get me wrong, if this movie, with its messages and themes and all, can help some people out, and especially some kids who go through this kind of stuff, that's amazing. That's phenomenal. And I'm very happy it can. I'm in a very different position. I've gone through some stuff in my life, admittedly, but luckily never to the degree that is talked about in this movie. And I've just never been in a place where I can completely connect with these kids. And that's just me. I'm not saying I can't connect with them at all. I'm not saying that I can't understand their issues. I very much can. But it's just a me thing. For me, it's not like the most connective film. It's not something that I personally like get super invested in. And admittedly, part of that comes down to I just don't like seeing kids suffering. It bothers me. So even if it's like an animated movie like this, like and even if there's a happy ending, seeing kids like suffering through a lot of this and just having gone through suffering of this nature, it just leaves me in kind of like a just a really tired state, I guess you could say. I'm just like, I don't want to see this. But again, I'm not saying that the movie's bad. The movie is good, just not great for me personally. Um, though this movie is exceptionally well received. Like this movie not only has like I think a 99% on Rotten Tomatoes, which mind you take as a grain of salt. Always form your own opinions. But it's also been nominated for and won quite a lot of awards. Like this was a really well received film. Like and I knew that even before like looking up like seeing all the awards and stuff in between the reaction and these afterthoughts. Because everybody was talking about this film. I'm surprised I didn't know anything about the story and whatnot. I just knew that everybody was talking about it in regards to its quality. And like everyone was gushing over this. And I can't necessarily argue with their reasonings. I can see why they love this so much. Again, it's just there's certain things keeping me from loving it that much. And it all comes down to just it's just me. I will fully admit that I'm not gonna like blame the movie or anything. It's not the movie's fault. It's definitely not the movie's fault. It's entirely on me. So yeah. Um, but I would love to hear what you think. So tell me in the comments below, what did you think about My Life as a Courgette? What are your thoughts regarding just the story, the themes, the stop motion animation, and everything? Um, Let me know down below. But also, one last thing before we finish this out. Um, so I wanted to look up the cast between the French and English version. I'm not going to recognize any of the French actors, I'm just going to say. Because I don't really... I know some, like, French actors by, like, their performance in another show and stuff, like Whack Fu. But I would not recognize their names at all. Like, I don't know if anyone in this was in Whack Fu or in anything else I've seen, like maybe Ernest and Celestine. But, yeah, I wouldn't recognize their names. But for the dub, apparently in the dub, Raymond, the officer, is voiced by Nick Offerman. That's a big name. Nick Offerman's pretty big. Um, and apparently, Ida is Amy Sedaris, and Mr. Paul is Will Forte. Um, but also, Rosie is Elliot Page. Elliot Page is also apparently in this. Um, so that's pretty interesting too. Um, and let me just make absolutely sure here. Okay, that didn't help. I was trying to look up exactly who Rosie was, but the Google image search did not help as much as I would have thought it would. Yeah, I'm not like. Will the IMDb page help? Nope, does not show a picture. Oh well. Oh well. I got the names of like the main characters down. It's like I didn't even remember the officer's name until I saw it like right there. I remember Courgette and Camille, and I said his name and now I'm forgetting it already. Wow, my mind sucks. um, Simon, Simon. Yeah, I remember those three because they're kind of the main characters. So my mind kind of like focused on them a little more. Um, but yeah, some of the other characters I wasn't remember. I think the girl with the glasses who was always checking to see if the person pulling up every time someone pulled up was her mother. I think that was B. I want to say like BEA. I think, but I'm not 100% on that. Either way, either way, like I said, let me know your thoughts down in the comments below, and thank you so much for tuning in, and thank you to Isabella for donating for this. In the meantime, yeah, I'm Connie, and I'm signing off. See y'all next time.